Okay, Tropical. So, do you think that like it's kind of like a weird like reverse V situation where it's like, because graphically, you know, nothing. I mean, I would say nothing has really like blown me away so far in like PS5. Just graphically, it's like going to be more about like innovations in gameplay and stuff like that.
I yeah, I was kind of getting that feeling.
Like the Ratchet and Clank demo, that was just the through time and space. That was just that was excellent.
Yeah, because I think, well, the thing that hit me was the 3D audio thing, where they sort of, that's sort of out of left field, right? Like if you thought before you heard anything about PS5 and you're just like, what is PS5 gonna be? You would just think, well, it's gonna be however many more times powerful, and it's gonna have more memory, and it's gonna be
billion triangles or whatever they said at the Unreal 5 demo.
Yeah, it's just like, it's gonna be a better PS4. And then, like, it is, but there's also more stuff that you wouldn't have thought of, like the 3D audio thing. That sort of reminds me of, that feels more out there than sort of the share button. The share button is like, okay, that's kind of out there, but for the most part, it's just a better PS3. But yeah, 3D audio has the potential to change, like, the experience of every game. The game itself, and not just how you interact with it, the share button. So, yes, kind of. I do think they maybe purposefully didn't go all out on just like processing power and decided to go a little bit sideways. So I think it really still is very much sort of a competitor for like most powerful console out there or whatever. But you know, they're also
it's so
not...
funny because it's like we're getting to the point where like it doesn't matter. It's like, dude, it looks good enough to care like how many teraflops, blah blah blah. It's like big whoop, it's the most powerful, but like, how are the games? Or like, what's the cool new thing it's doing? Which is a
it's
good
really
thing.
funny. Like, I think that they really wanted to have had Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima out before they really showed PS5 stuff. Because I remember distinctly thinking this. We watched the Unreal Engine 5 thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then we watched
so it wouldn't look like
Ghost
garbage compared to like
thing.
next gen stuff.
Yeah, well, when I saw the Ghost of Tsushima thing, I was like, this does not look as good as the last thing I saw. And it's like, oh, but yeah, it did have that effect. Like, even Last of Us 2.
I didn't think of it on that, like from that perspective. I thought like they didn't want to like undercut the sales of those titles because it's like, you know, we still have to promote these and get them out the door. So it's like, let's not, you know, have any PS5 stuff like get in the way of that. As opposed to like, dude, these games are like, hey, you guys see the PS5 stuff we're working on? I don't know if you guys want to show it. It's like, going to look so much better. Why would you get ready for this other stuff that's on PS4 still?
Because it's also relative. I think that's why. Yeah, I mean,
because it's like the swan song games are just like looking amazing like on the current gen.
Yeah.
Versus like launch stuff on next gen.
I think you're right that the reason is not because PS5 stuff will make these last PS4 games look like crap. It's just that I had that feeling when I watched the presentation of Ghost of Tsushima. It was just like, this looks good, but not like amazing anymore.
Good shot.
And yeah, so I think that's something that could happen. So you're not blown away by anything? Just the Ratchet and Clank thing?
I mean, I feel like they got away with one on that because it was like they had stuff like Ratchet and like Horizon where it was like, you know, decent length, but then like or like stuff like the Devil Inside and that one game I can't think of, like the girl and the little creature things where it's like it was decent length. Yeah, Kenna. It's like there's stuff like that, but there's also stuff like I feel like Spider-Man was a bit like very much a teaser, like short, you know, super burn. Like there's like a lot of stuff in there that was like the length of it was like as bad as like a lot of the Xbox Series like stuff that they did. They viewed it, but they got away with it because there was stuff in there like Ratchet stuff where it's like it's very it's a lot longer compared to like that stuff that they showed at Microsoft event. But I mean, graphically blown away. No, I felt like I did feel like everything was just like a prettier version of like, you know, or just like not even prettier. Just didn't. It's like it looked very comparable to like what we have now. It just didn't like blow me away as far as like the graphics are amazing. I've never seen anything like this in my life before ever. So.
I think the Ratchet thing was the only thing that I sort of thought that, but everything else, like, you know, it's getting the margin of returns is becoming.
Focus.
That's not the saying. I don't know. Like, we're getting less now because I had to rely on experts to tell me.
Yeah, it's like until I watched the Digital Foundry breakdown, like frame by frame.
Oh, okay, I see.
I saw Gretchen and I like didn't even think about reflections. I was like, okay, it's Gretchen, they're cars. Okay.
I was like, I guess it looks better. That's how it is now.
Nice shot.
So I think it is kind of smart to sort of move. Like, I think Nintendo maybe branched off too soon. They looked at PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2 level graphics, and they're like, "Yep, this is enough. We don't need to go any further than this." But yeah, like, looking at PS4 graphics, it's hard to imagine how they could be better. And then you see, not even just like watching the trailers, it's watching Digital Foundry. It's like, look, that's ray tracing there. It wouldn't look that real here. And look, these halos that appear around them when you do this kind of shadowing, there isn't that because ray tracing. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Not the most exciting sort of reaction anymore. Well, just comparing the two showcases that we've seen so far, like the Xbox One, it did feel like they don't have a vision, I guess, or maybe they have a really like gamery vision. Because you remember the first thing that they showed was that was it Bright?
Oh yeah, that FPS game. I can't remember the name of.
Yeah,
that one.
They opened with that, and it's like, okay, you know, this is the next gen look. It's raining, everything is wet.
I was thinking that tropical. I was thinking the thing about the whatever that EA engine was like. We're gonna see a lot of like rainy nighttime stuff again.
And but then it was like the most gamery, quote unquote, type footage you could possibly imagine. Running around, shooting, reloading, jump off wall run, sword, drive a car. It's just like, I feel like we've gone beyond this, you know?
I know, it's like, it's just felt so like the same old, and then like, I'm just like worried about their next showcase. It's like, okay, it's gonna be like more the same as like Gears, Halo, Forza again.
Yeah.
It's like, had they not like progressed beyond this point?
It's just, yeah, lots of shooty, dude bro type stuff. So,
Hole 8, Part 3.
I am really interested in this. I guess they're doing a demo week that week, where there'll be something like 60 demos to play on Xbox One. And it's the same week as the showcase. It's like, oh, that's that thing I've been saying they should do with PlayStation Now. But they're actually gonna let you download them. So I guess like that's kind of cool. That's why I was looking into Xbox One. So I was like, does it make sense for me to get an Xbox One to play demos for a week? And I was like, well, how much do they cost now? Well, so the cheapest one is $200, but you cannot get them anywhere. I was gonna get an Xbox One. Sad. But they
I
did
paid
not
like
have it.
$250 for mine or something, and I was like, yeah, $250 is the Wii price threshold is like the lowest I'm willing to,
Yeah.
or not.
Wait,
I mean,
is
the
that
highest
the
I'm willing to go for something I don't really want.
is that the all digital one or?
It's a par 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Or no, it's not. It's not all digital. It's just how it's discharged.
Okay.
It's just normal S.
Yeah, I was thinking all digital. It's like that's gotta be the cheapest one. I don't know. I haven't followed the prices on Xbox Ones at all.
Shot complete.
I did actually look into their All Access Pass, which is basically
What?
like a phone plan for an Xbox. So it's something like $20 to $25 a month, depending on what model you get, for 24
What's the
months.
lie?
And you think, well, that's $600 for a console, but you get Xbox Live Ultimate throughout all of that. So it's actually kind of around the same price as if you bought those two things separately, but you pay it in installments. I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. And then it says, like, if you've paid 18 months, then you can take advantage of the upgrade and get the next Xbox
Nice approach.
by trading this one in. It's like, well, that's maybe.
Uphill.
Luckily, yeah, they don't have any, because now that I'm saying it out loud, it probably is crazy to get one to play demos for a week.
Man, that's like been a weird pacing this like whole summer of like
Hole 10. It's a par
sideshow
4.
gaming, not quite expo events.
It has
Just
been
like
exhausting.
like this day is this thing, this day is this other thing. It's like it's a varying degrees of how much do you care about this thing, and like what does it mean to you, and like how interested
Yeah.
are you in it. Because like New Game X, or New Game Plus X or whatever that was, like I was kind of interested in that, but then like the stuff they showed was like not very appealing to me. So I was like, some of it was cool, but then some of it was just like I did not really need to watch this. I did not see anything here I'm not already excited for that has me excited to get it or be interested in it.
Like, it was funny because that's sort of how E3 has been, right? Like, we watch the press conferences at the beginning, and then there's like 3 or 4 days of live shows, but they all sort of repeat the same stuff
Yeah.
that was most exciting at the press conferences. And that's kind of been what's been happening, except over like the course of 6
Focus.
or 7 weeks. It was just like, oh, slow burn.
Yeah, it's like it just made me feel like this is why I prefer E3. It's just to get it, just like a gunshot or a shotgun face blast, and like
Yep.
have it all there, and be like, yep,
Hole 11. Par
let me
5.
be hyped
Much,
and excited for a
much
week,
easier.
and walk around in the haze of oh man, so many games.
I mean, I guess the Ubisoft thing this weekend should be kind of cool, because they actually do have some big stuff that they haven't, like, they kind of said they were going to show it at the Xbox thing, but they did not.
Ah man, yeah, the Assassin's Creed that was just so bad. It was such a it's so messed up too. 'Cause, like it's one of those things where they're gonna keep hyping it throughout the event of like,
I know.
stay tuned for the world premiere. Assassin's Creed
People
Valhalla.
are talking about important stuff, or at least for them, and then at the bottom of the screen is like, please, you know, it's okay, this is boring, but you're here for Assassin's Creed, it's coming up.
Very good.
And then it was not.
Did you see the leak that already happened
Eagle within reach.
for the
For
Ubisoft thing?
Assassin's Creed.
No, for Far Cry.
Downhill.
So that was a leak.
Yeah.
Ah,
You got moving.
I saw the like short teaser that they released,
Oh, I didn't know they released anything yet.
and
I
then
just saw
someone
that it
was
leaked.
like, "Oh, they knew that it was gonna leak, so
Ah.
they had this ready, maybe?" Or they were just like, "Oh, it leaked! Just cut a piece of the trailer, and then we'll show it and be like, haha, we meant to do that. Here's a teaser."
Good shock.
Yeah, that was like weird. Like, I also when like the thing about their like not free to play, but their battle royale thing that they're working on is like, I mean, I guess it's just a matter of time, right? Before the
Yeah.
mega publishers got their tentacles in on it.
Oh, it's actually pretty sad for PUBG. They could have been something, but they were too slow. They weren't ready. And now apparently PUBG is doing pretty badly in America. Obviously Fortnite ate their lunch. But yeah, the Call of Duty one is quite... So, I told you I had like lent out 2 of my PlayStations. And these people were... One of them especially, like, the first night I played with him, I asked him, like, so, what was the last thing you played? And he said, GoldenEye. The N64. And I was like, oh man. Alright, so we're gonna play
I mean,
Call
on
of
the
Duty
one hand,
Warzone
that is like an interesting data point, but it's like, it's also like a very workable reference point, because it's like, oh,
Yeah, I guess
it's
so.
computers.
But just the sheer amount of time.
Yeah.
He's also like considerably younger than I am, so yeah, it's just really funny. And so we started playing, and like originally he had not thought about getting a console at all. He's the type of guy who's, you know, he likes outdoor stuff, boating and all these things, and so he was not considering a console until some friends like wanted him. They kept asking, he's like, oh, do you have PlayStation? We can play Call of Duty together. And he's like, I don't have one. And so he was like kind of considering it. And then one day I was just like, do you want to borrow my other one? And he was like, sure. So he borrowed it, and like now he is probably the most obsessed with it. Like over the last, I think like 7 weeks, he's played something like nine days of game time.
Jeez. That would be so weird. That's like being in some sort of like vault or bunker and like emerging years later to be like, what did I miss out on? Last thing I played was GoldenEye.
It's crazy. But like also totally understandable to me. Because like if you remember Call of Duty, like Call of Duty, the game feel of Call of Duty, the way it feels to like run and shoot and all that, it feels really good. Call of Duty is a game that feels really good.
Yeah.
And then added to that, sort of the sheer novelty of Battle Royale, where it's, you know, in Warzone it's 150 players, and you know, you drop in with your friends, and then you're watching each other's backs, and you're like going through buildings and finding weapons to like fight other people. It's intense, and I think very cool in some ways. And so those things combined together, plus, you know, the last thing you played was GoldenEye, is just like, it makes complete sense to me that he has been sucked into he just has no defense to these types of things. He's never even heard of something like this before. And then now, yeah, it was like the second night we played, he's like, I love this. Like, the other day I was just like, you know, not even thinking, oh, I'm probably not going to play it, that's why I'm not going to buy one. And I was just like, I love this game. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, what are you playing now? You finished all the Witcher stuff?
I gotta go through Thronebreaker. I'm gonna do that on, today. It was Friday? Well, it was Friday, but like I'm gonna start. Well, I got through that first section of Thronebreaker, I'm gonna continue it on today on Saturday. So I've just been playing Blitz, so I need to go back and actually play the actual game that was made from me. So I didn't even know like Thronebreaker was a thing until I like was going through the store and I was like, wait, what? There's another Witcher game? Like, there's another?
It slips up.
Oh man.
Yes. like all the Witcher games, I know of it. I haven't played any of them. I guess you win.
That was actually a really fun experience though, like going like from like all three games in like a very short setting, or a short amount of time, just like back to back to back, and getting like completely caught up on it. Cause at first I was like, I like the first game was like solid, and I was like good, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good. And then like the second one, I was expecting more. I was like, I don't know, man. That still has to beat. Like the third game, I was like, okay, it's apples and oranges, but man, that was like, whew, open world experience. Cause I was like, dude, I need to update my top 5 games because Red Dead has been dethroned in the open world category.
Wow. That is amazing.
It was like just so cool because like that just made me even more excited for Cyberpunk. Because like, man, and it's coming out this year. Like, this is like the perfect time to do this.
Yeah, so the story is like when they made The Witcher, they thought, like, what is in the game now, they thought was a lot shorter than it actually turned out to be. They thought like people would blaze through it more quickly, and so they just like kept making more and more side stuff because they felt like, oh, the game is too short. You gotta add more stuff, and they added all this stuff, and then the game was like epically long. I wonder if they, decided, oh, we got all this acclaim for Witcher, so for Cyberpunk, we'll just do that again. Or are they thinking, well, we didn't need to spend all that time on Witcher 3, so maybe we'll pull back on Cyberpunk?
Focus.
I have a feeling it's gonna be more like the first one. It's just like
The worst one.
it's just a bunch of stuff. That seems to be like what
people want from us.
Yeah, it's like it seems to be from like what I've seen as far as like that's what they did. It's just like the giant nomad area. It's just like the Badlands country, and you have like the mega city, and then like the city is a faction, and then you have like just like the side quests and like the characters and everything that are like tied into each area. So, and they've already shown the prologue, which is probably gonna be at least 3 hours or like 1 to 3 hours for sure. So it's like. After I saw that, like, we made sure the like, recent next season, I was like, oh, this is a prologue, okay, so definitely going to be, yeah, I can already tell this game's going to be, and just, as nothing to Witcher 3. But, like, first person Cyberpunk, I don't know, but I'm down for that, because I love Cyberpunk, I was like, dude, like, Audrey Carbon, Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, it's like, I kinda was, like, down on fantasy for a very long time, with this, like, Witcher, like, is a good, nice fantasy setting that's got a lot of crazy stuff going on. And I like it.
Did you play, I think it's called The Observer?
I haven't played it.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know what that was about at all until I saw they're like doing a remaster, I guess, for PS5.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, this is like, it's very cyberpunky.
Yeah, there's
I had
that
no
one,
idea.
and there's like another Cyberpunk game I have on my PS4 I haven't played. It's a digital devolver game. I can't remember what the name of it is. I think it's published by them.
Nigel Gage.
Like it's like a not quite isometric view, but it's like it's kind of like the old Shadowrun game, or Shadowrun Syndicate. It's like it's like that camera style, but like it's very shoot 'em up, like Smash TV,
Was it
but
like
not.
Ruiner?
Yes, Ruiner, that one.
Yeah,
Nice recovery.
that one looks really cool. Oh,
Focus.
Cyberpunk is November. I thought I remembered that wrong. It wasn't though, right? It was September.
Yeah, September. They got delayed.
Okay.
Well done.
It's so weird because like because that was in like Monster Hunter, it's like going and playing it. It's like there is actually like a decent like monster hunting aspect in that game. At least in 3, it's like it's more of a like thing than just like going to the contract board and like it's just like better. Like the way they present it in 3 is like so much better, especially with the like the Detective Vision. when you just it's like you're out CSI, but then you end up like at the end like you're just on a contract hunting down a monster, and it's just like it's so good, so well done. It's just like I can see like why they would like collaborate with Monster in that respect. So then like when they were showing the PS5 thing, and like it had that like the little devil inside, it's like that's like a new like twitch in my brain of like when I see like a monster hunting aspect to a game. So it's like when it showed like this dude going to like lands and hunting down creatures, I was like, it's a monster hunting game. I was like, any type of that's just like any type of like that just on the hunt for like whatever demons, monsters, people. It's like that's my new thingy that I like to do. Just like the quarry of like the hunt. And just out there finding your prey and just or preferably predatory stealth, but not always doesn't always have to be. So it's like just bring your gear with you and get the job done.
Predatory stealth.
I was so bummed too when they showed Hitman 3 because it was like, but it was like so short. I was like,
Yeah.
Hitman is just the newest Hitman. That kind of bummed me out too. They said it's like the end of the trilogy, so it's like the last one. But I was like, dude, I am there for that game because it is so good.
Hold on. It's a part 4.
I haven't played the second one, but I am looking forward to it.
See, Hitman is a series that will probably benefit a lot from having just a way more powerful CPU. So many more people walking around.
So I haven't seen any of the like Ghost of Tsushima stuff that they put out as far as like their days of their state of play or whatever. Have you seen any of them?
Oh, you didn't watch the last one?
No, because I thought it was like so long, and I was like, I didn't watch the last specific. It's like, that's weird. I just want to go in. Is it still like very similar, like as far as like what it looks like it would be compared to like the E3 stuff they did the last time, where it's like cool sword fights and like some stealth sections?
Yeah, well, they talked a bit about game systems in that last one. So they talked about how the sword fights and the stealth are sort of like two styles of play but you're not locked into either of them.
Ooh,
so you can
like that.
I guess it's like Metal Gear where you can sort of go in stealth and then if you mess up then you can just be like, well, we're going honorable samurai now. We just happened to jump out of a tree.
Mind your gauge.
Yeah, because I was like, I was talking to something RPG on Twitter, and I was like, blah 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 blah. And he was like, I'm going blah 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 mode. And I was like, wait, what? There's different modes? I was like, whatever. That's something that kind of it didn't annoy me, but it was just like really weird playing lots of this after playing so much Metal Gear, and just like that universe is just so brutal because it's like there is no like just stealth here and like let people live. It's like no, it is survival. It's like leave no one standing, kill everyone. It's just like that is just the thing with that like universe is just like playing that is just like on the one hand it's hard to reconcile this as an older fan. It's just like there is no like pacifism, but it's like that is also why it's so good because it's just that brutal. Like that is the way lots of us is. It's like no, you do not leave them alive, kill them, or they will come back for you. It's like that is cycle of violence that is like presented to you in that game.
There was a lot of sections that you could just sneak through.
I know, but like I feel like it's not really like as far as like it's not like implicated or not implicated, but like it's not like tied into like the story of the characters as far as like I'm a passive person, I don't fight. Like everybody in that universe is like a killer or survivor, but they're like intertwined of like there's no polar opposite of like Joel, Ellie, and everybody else. It's like like everybody is on that side of like they would kill you before they would like, or they would most likely kill you. It's like it seems like in the beginning parts it seems like they're like they would probably like draw guns on you for like not like just straight up murder you. Because it's like they're like if you're like at the walls of their settlement, they're like, okay, we'll shoot that for you. But they wouldn't just like straight up like Walking Dead style. We're just gonna roll them. We're just gonna roll them and take their stuff. I feel a lot of parallels in that game when I was playing, and I was like, man, this is very street level Walking Dead.
It was really funny. Well, wait, so you said you didn't watch any of the marketing stuff for Last of Us 2?
I went back and watched like the launch trailer after I finished it, so I didn't watch any of the state of play stuff that they put out. Yeah, I went back and watched like all the like all their or like the game mechanics and like the world and stuff. So I was like, okay, what did they put out before that I put that out?
It's really crazy, like
Part 3.
all of the marketing stuff. Like they really did put out a game that you were supposed to watch all the marketing stuff and then be fooled by it.
Yeah, it was very much a right situation, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why there was so many writers on those videos as far as, like, only half the game was talked about.
Yeah. Then, yeah, I had been watching the later seasons of Walking Dead just as Last of Us came out, and I had not planned to get it that day. I was just thinking, you know what, I have so many games, I probably shouldn't buy another one. But then the sort of idea of the spoilers and stuff came into my head. I was like, fine, I will get it, and I will blaze through it. I mean, it's a single player game. How long can it take? 8-10 hours?
I feel like the pacing in that one is just terrible compared to the first game. It's just, it made me really annoyed. Because the first one is just so perfectly paced of, like, the gut punch sections, and it says, like, the season is, like, fall, winter. It's just like, oh, it was so perfect. And then, like, this one you get, like, day 1, day 2, it's just, like, ooh. But then you have, like, time jumps. They ruined it. Like, I think the time jumps are just, like, too much. It was... I know if they were going for it because I don't feel like they, like, hit the nail on the head on those.
You gotta think about that. I mean, definitely, like, the major small time jump that happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the final one was like, I wish this was put somewhere else in the game because, like, it kind of just told me a lot of things I wanted to know or needed to know. I wish I knew before this part, but it just like it's such a bad spot of like where it's at.
Yeah, because like the way it's played, it's like, oh, this is the ending, and then there's like a flashback, and I thought, oh, this is a flashback, so it doesn't matter, you know, what I do. And it's not gonna matter.
I think it's like the two ones actually, because it's like there's like the two flashbacks actually. It's not just the one. It's like the one where Ellie goes to Salt Lake City or back to Utah, back to the hospital, and gets like really angry. So there's that one, and then there's like the one where you see what happened at the dance with the dude and like them both him and stuff.
Oh, at the end.
Because like those two kind of give you a lot of insight into like what's going on. That I kind of just didn't have like no idea at the beginning. I wish I did.
I guess, yeah. See, maybe there, like your experience is kind of different because, like, no, wait, you saw the dance because you watched that.
Well, yeah, but like that's the thing. Like I knew it was in the game, but like I thought that also was super weird. Like they showed something that was like so far at the end of the game.
See, yeah, I thought that it wasn't in the game.
I was starting to think it was in the game too, Tropical.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they lied to us in so many ways that scene isn't in the game. It's like a scene they showed in trailers, and then they're gonna talk about it at the beginning of the game, but then it's not actually in the game.
But it's also like more. There's also like more of that scene, so that's not the entire scene. It doesn't end when like she kisses her. So it's like there's more after that.
That's true. But they talk about that part, and so I don't know. It didn't feel like I needed to see it. Like I started becoming okay with not seeing it, and then when they showed it, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of understand why this is here. Oh man, yeah, so many tricks. Yeah, when you start playing the second character, yeah, I thought it was just a small section that it didn't matter.
Did not, dude. I was like, dude, am I gonna do the same thing with her? And then, I was like, I had a feeling like that. I had a feeling they're gonna try to like make you sympathize and empathize with her, and I was like, dude, no. And I just like was like, F this person, get the F out of here. I know what you're trying to do, Naughty Dog. I know what you're trying to do, No Druckmann. It's not gonna work. And it's just like, oh.
I totally changed sides.
What? Wow, Travel.
Yeah.
I also have
I
like
was
an
just
issue
like,
with like
oh,
the
man.
pacing of like the third chapter. I feel like kind of ends abruptly and is not like fully baked. Cause you get that cool weapon, and then like I was like, oh man, silence SMG, but then it's like you barely get to use it before the game's over. I was like, dude, I had so much fun with that gun. I had so much fun, but like I barely got to use it, and it was already over. Oh, and they had like some cool like interesting things they could have did like with like the whole traps with like the clickers and stuff. Like the traps will be infected. I thought that was a cool thing, but like you only get to like use it in like one area. It's like, oh dude, that's a cool thing. They didn't explore it or do anything with it.
Shot successful.
I thought that was like a really cool like way that they tied it into like the end of the first game, because I was because I've always felt that way about the first game. Like I hated Joel as a DJ total person, so it's like to see him getting his comeuppance, it's like I didn't enjoy that, but it's like, you know, you kind of like knew that like that was, or like you could see like that being the way like things would go down because he'd like bounce into people or just like, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like that didn't surprise me. But then, like, the way that it was tied into the first game of, like who it was and, like, why they did that, I thought that was cool. I thought that was, like, yeah, okay. That was a very good twist on that one. So I was like, why couldn't you just, like, not kill the Doctor at the end? That's such a weird thing to do. Why couldn't you do that, Joel? Like, he didn't deserve that.
Stop.
And then redemption.
They were surrendering.
For
They were
revenge.
surrendering and unarmed. They were clearly up against the wall. They weren't,
like,
you know,
they had a
they weren't doing
scalpel,
anything.
and, you had, like, a backpack full of weapons, dude. You didn't have to do that.
Good. It's time.
Wow, now I gotta go back and think, like,
It's a par 3.
how did I kill the doctors?
See, it's weird because, like, when I replayed it recently in the remaster, I, like, didn't push any buttons to see if, like, they gave you an option, but they don't. They just let you do something else besides just, like, straight up murder him. Like, if you walk up to him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you don't push anything, he just, like, stands there with the scalpel out. It's like, don't take her! And, like, you can do whatever. But as opposed to, like, the scripted sequence where he, like, actually just does that thing. Like, that's in the second game.
Shot
But
complete.
that wasn't necessary, Joel. You're a bad person. And you've killed us all.
On the green.
But no, yeah, like, by the end, there's those few sections in the fight where you're, like, mashing square.
Uphill.
And I was just like,
Left break.
I don't know who I'm mashing for anymore.
Dude, I had that happen with the part at the, not the final part, but, like, the part where you have, like, the reverse boss fight. I thought that was awesome. I was just like, alright, I was like, this is the end, just kill me, because I'm on your side. But then it wasn't the end, I was like, ah, bummer. I thought, man, it was so weird playing that game. Because, like, I like felt so much Uncharted DNA in that game. Of like that part specifically, because it felt very similar to like the sword fight in Uncharted 3 at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And like all the chase sequences and like vehicle sequences, I was like, dude, this was like compared to Last of Us 1, this has like so much more Uncharted DNA in it.
Yeah, like action set pieces.
Yes, the chases, dude, those were intense. I was like, what? This is awesome.
But I think, like, my favorite part was, like, crossing the bridges way up high
Oh
in the
yeah, that
skyscrapers.
was cool.
That was crazy.
What do you mean this isn't the end?
That part was insane. And then that was where I've encountered like the only bug that I've ever seen, where it's like one of the combat encounters, and I snuck by, and I went to the door, and then the doors are always like you can't open them quietly. You can like push on them, and they're really loud.
Yeah.
And so I pushed on that one, and like they started coming to get us, and like one grabbed me
Trying for birdie.
just as I went through the door. So their arms like came through the door, and the door closed on them, and so like the grapple was broken, and it was fine. I was like, oh, okay. But then like nothing would happen, so I couldn't like go up the elevator or anything. It's like, what is going on? And it turns out like there's an animation that has to play after you get through the door. where they like put a bar or something.
Oh yeah, they always like
to
obstruct
block
it.
the door from opening. Yeah, and they didn't do that, and so the game like just broke and it wouldn't continue. So I had to like restart that
Rank trending
encounter,
downward.
but it was just like, oh, that was yeah, I've never seen anything weird in these games before.
Hole 10. It's a par 4.
Yeah, that part was fun. Oh yeah, and the bottom part of it, where you had to go down through the building. It's like, this is the 19th floor. Do we have to go down 19 floors of these things?
It's like, yeah, we don't usually go this way because we just use the thing, but can't do that now.
I was
I don't know
like,
what's in here.
no, I do not want to do this. Like, stalkers are just so annoying to fight.
I like how they added that new type that's like the shy version of them that like don't really
Yeah.
come out and attack. I thought that was
That's
neat.
like the perfect addition, because like listening vision is so powerful, and those guys don't show up on it.
Yeah.
So good.
I also love the Seraphites. Like they're like basically the like anti-stealth gamer like enemy type
Yeah.
of just like they are like stealth enemies in the stealth game. I was like, what? And they whistle to each other. I thought that was so awesome. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, that is like the coolest thing ever that they thought of that.
What'd you think of the boss fight in the hospital?
I thought that was intense.
That was really cool, actually.
And yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did
Especially
not
like the
expect
fact that
them
there's
to
like
have
multi.
that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I liked the fact that it had like multiple like forms too. After it started taking damage.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not dead. Is it dead? No. Oh, okay, it's not. It just like lost a piece of it. So it keeps going. Okay.
That part was insane. I was like, oh man, they're actually doing it. This is really cool and scary. That was the only part where I started thinking, wait, is The Last of Us a horror game? This reminds me of Resident Evil.
I know. I was thinking Resident Evil 2 or
Yeah.
2 times when I was playing it. I was like, it reminded me of the remake at some
Hole
parts.
11.
You're just like sneaking through in your flashlight. I was like, oh, intense. I mean, I think that's why I like the first one so much. It's like it is like a stealth game, but it's also got like moments of like action and horror. But like it's just it's so good taste. But like the atmosphere on the scary part is so good that it is scary. It's just like the
Yeah.
dust and like the sound that the clickers make of like the echolocation that is just like amazing. Like that is just perfect.
That was
Like-
neat how they changed that. Like, now they can see you with their screens.
Fine shot.
Whereas before, like, there was nothing you could do. Like, you just sit there, and they would walk by, and they'd do the clicks, and then they walk away. And then, like, the first time I saw a clicker in the second game, I was sitting there, just, like, crouching near it, and then thinking, wait a minute, doesn't echolocation mean that they use those clicks to, like, it's like radar? And then it did the thing, and then it turned and saw me, and I was like, oh, did they do that in the first game? That was really cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's like one of the reasons I had like it felt like some of the MGS5 when I played it because I had the HUD set to where like the stealth indicator was on, so I could like know how where other enemies were when I was like trying to stealth through. It's like every time like it like start going up and like getting more grayer and grayer and redder and redder, like and just like even though they're like the audio cues, it's just like it's better to have like the visual cue. Be like, okay, you're about to get blown here, Tekken. Cover's almost blown, game.
Tall grass.
Oh, dude, that made me think of Horizon for sure. At those parts, because I could just like go, and you can go prone too. So it's like a completely like change the movement too.
Oh, yeah.
I can just snake around.
Some parts looked really silly though, because it's like,
Yeah.
there is like short grass here, but hardly any, and yet it works perfectly fine. In the last compound,
Hole 12.
I did not.
It's par 4.
I killed maybe one person, and I just like crawled through the short grass, and nobody saw me.
I think there's only I think there's a couple sections, like one or two at most, where like I did just like not fight anybody because I was like, dude, there's a lot of them, because like
Yeah.
because you have your hearing vision or whatever.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I am not even going to try because we are very outgunned here, and I just yeah, I'm not doing this.
I understand that you have, you know, the power of your rage and righteous fury, but there's like a lot of guys here.
Nice. Trying for birdie. Nice and easy. Birdie secured.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like the first one was better paced. Because I'm trying to think. Like I was trying to rush through it, so there were parts that I definitely felt like it was too long, or just sort of my expectations were like, yeah, at the beginning of the second half of the game, I didn't think that was the second half. I just thought, oh, this is like a little section, and then we're gonna go back, and then we're gonna finish it. But then one time I pushed the menu, it was like, oh, there's a new skill tree.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's another game.
When I saw that, I was like, dude, I lost all my skills. I have to start over.
Like, it's a different person. I have to make shivs now. That's why the game was talking about shivs. But like, Ellie doesn't need a shiv. She's got a little pocket knife. And I was like, oh, great. Okay. And like, in the end, I remember thinking, like, you know, I think how lengthy it was does kind of work in its favor, because by the end, you know, this sort of revenge story is like, by the end, you're not really sure why you're doing it. You're just like doing it.
I think that's the
felt.
other issue I had with like the third act was like it seems like it could have possibly just ended there, and like it was like question mark, do we even like go forward past this point? And then, but then like that I mean the more I think about it, the more like I dislike the ending, because it's like I feel like if you're going to go that far, like why not go all the way? It's just like you went to Seattle, you came back, and you went back. Well, I guess you went to Seattle the third time, but like, you went way out west. You went so far, so many miles, so much. Like, I mean, that's the only reason I didn't like the place in temporary glasses. One was because like you go to all those places, and like this one you skip over like so many places that you read in the journal. It's like, oh, I went to Boise, I went to wherever, but it's like you don't actually play those sections, and like this one, it's like you skip over so much, and then you're like just in these places after you've like traveled, but not like actually played the traveling. It's just like, oh. And did I not go to the thing that I went out to do because
Like, I can sort of see the logic at that part.
I mean I can, because it's like I can see like why she would like empathize and see like Joel and Ellie in love and happy, but it's like you went through all this trouble, dude. It's like, and to like not do that after like it's like dude, in the last Wish Universe, it's like going 1,500 miles to like not do something is like yeah, that there's got to be like a there's got to be a reason why. It's like I feel like if you're gonna go that far,
it's just something to do.
it's like what makes this one that much different from all the other ones that you've done throughout the game. It's like you go 1,500 miles for this last one, and then you're right there at the edge, and then you don't, and you're like, I changed my mind at the last second. I have a brief flash of something that happened bad to me, and I don't want to do it to somebody else. And I've done it hundreds of times, or even more, because I'm a terrible person. But this one time I'll let it go. I'll actually let it go this time. I learned how to let it go. I guess that's the lesson. You learn how to let it go.
Water entered. Take the shot again.
Like I'll sit in frozen or something.
See, like, the way I saw that was that, so you had the dance scene, which was a flashback, and that sort of made you think, oh, I still need to go through with this, because, there's like a lot of regret there, because my last interaction with Joel was not a good one, and then so, yeah, this isn't about. I don't think in Ellie's mind it's ever about revenge. It's like it's about justice.
Yeah.
Because she's always
It's like they have to pay for what they've
she
done.
gets to live.
Yeah.
And then so that's why at that part it's like, okay, I think this is the wrong call, but she has taken something precious. The chance that maybe you reconcile later on, that's not going to happen now. So, okay, this is crazy, but let's do it. Let's go to California. And then so you have that sequence, but then they have that brief flash, and it's just like, what the heck was that? And then they show it to you later, and I was like, oh,
Very good.
that sequence you showed me earlier was not the last interaction you had. This was the last interaction you had. And it sort of changed how I thought about why I was with you earlier to go to California. And then so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm...
You rose up
And,
the ranks.
I had switched sides. And so by the end I was like,
It's a par 5.
I thought the square mashing was really, really clever, because like every other instance in the game when you're mashing square, you're trying to get away from something. Like, clicker has grabbed you and you're mashing square to get away, someone's on top of you, you're mashing square to get away. That was the only sequence where you were playing the attacker and you were pressing square to attack. But the way that, it's framed on screen, and it's like, I've played both of these people, you're mashing square, and yeah, I was just like, I'm mashing square, I was like, wait, I don't know who is this for? I'm very confused now. I was talking to, I forget, and he was saying, it's like, he stopped mashing. He took it as sort of like the end of God of War 3, where like you could just keep pinching Zeus until you stopped mashing. And he just like stopped mashing, but it doesn't like end the sequence, it just continues. Yeah, I just kept mashing. It's like, I'm mashing, but I don't know like if I'm mashing as the attacker or am I mashing as the defender, because every other time it's the defender. And so yeah, by the end of it I was like, I just want it to end. Like, I mean, sure, I'll care afterwards, but right now I don't care who wins. Like, just let it be over, and then we can go about the rest of our lives.
There's also like a weird like lost legacy setup with the whole like the Fireflies are still out there arc. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
that is some unresolved. Why did you
I
do
wonder
this
if they're
to me?
gonna do that, but like, I don't know what the story is gonna be though. If would it still be The Last of Us if the story becomes, we found another immune person and we gotta save them and then unfortunately kill them so we can save everyone else. So yeah, like when they talk about Last of Us Part 3, it's like, well, I don't think it would be Part 3. It would just be Last of
Part
Us
3.
something, and I have no idea what the story's connection will be to this one, except, maybe it's like further along and something is happening with the Fireflies and there's something else happening. Like, would it be interesting as a game that's about
Trying for birdie.
events in the world rather than this really personal stories about these people went through this stuff and it was bad.
Yeah, I think probably not. I think that's definitely one area that Uncharted has appeared is just like the cast being built up,
Yeah.
and like you'd want to have more interesting stories with them. Whereas like everybody in The Last of Us is like irredeemable. They're all killers and survivors, and just like because it is like a connected of like you can't survive without killing in that universe, which is like why it's so like interesting. But just like it's like even with like the more experienced like Walking Dead, just like you can maybe parlay and like not have to kill anyone else. It's just so brutal in that game. Especially when like you're replaying the sections as like as you like snipe people that you kill, it's just like dude,
I know.
that got me, man. Like that, and like all the calling out of like the enemies to like their NPC people with like actual names, and all the dogs. That's just like I feel so bad.
See, yeah, I must have had a very different experience from most people because, like, I did not have any of that. Like, I would kill a person, and
I feel
then,
nothing. I killed them all.
On your
no, and then, like,
package.
someone else would come over, and before they could say anything, I would kill them
Oh.
too,
Okay.
and then I would just leave. And so, like, it was never, it never became that situation that you saw in, like, their gameplay demos, where it was like, one guy's down, and then someone's like, oh, they got so-and-so, and then they're really sad, or any. Like, I even managed to sneak by most of the dogs. If I ever had to kill a
Oh,
dog,
see, that's what I was doing. Is like I would specifically target the dogs because they're just such a nuisance. And I was like, dude, I'm not dealing with this. It's like it's all your effing synth. What? I thought that was a great enemy type, man. I was just like, every effing time.
but
Like, I
like,
specifically
yeah, like,
target them and their handlers, so it's like they go down first.
Down
So
here.
it's like, yeah, I did not sneak by the dogs because they were target number 1 on my list.
every time that I killed a dog, it became an all-out fight in the area. And so by the end of those, like, if I wasn't able to sneak out without, with just killing 1 or 2 people, then everyone died. And so, and it wasn't even, like, it really became sort of an action game style of killing everyone. It wasn't the sort of brutal killing that you saw in the gameplay demos. It was just like, boom, boom, pow, 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 and then just like, everyone's dead. It's like, oh, that felt really, yeah, that was more Uncharted than Last of Us. So, moving along now.
Man, I had
So, yeah,
I definitely had a different reaction because like every time, like early on in the game, like I kept stealth killing people. It's just like seeing that animation over and over, which it just like cuts the jugular out. It's just like that is so brutal. It's just like over and over and over, just like the repetition of it. It's just, like, it got to me. Dude. I was like, dude, Ellie, you're a terrible person. Like, oh my god, it's like, jeez, there are no good people in this universe. It's like I can't even root for you. You've done so many bad things.
Time to head out.
I mean, I'm glad that like you kill that one person like in the cutscene. I'd have been just like, I can't even play anymore. Like when you kill the one lady, and she's like, I didn't mean to. It's like, but you did. I couldn't tell because she had a coat on. Womp womp. So I was like, whew, man. That was definitely, deep cutter there. Lost for 2. It was like, man.
Home one.
It was like weird, like playing it, because like after I was done, I was like, I remember feeling like Last of Us 1 was like so much more like hard hitting and brutal and like deeper cuts than this one. So I'm not sure if that's just like more stuff has just like been dark and gritty after Last of Us, or if it just didn't bring it like the first one did.
I kind of feel like Last of Us 1 had more, like, if you have any contact with, like, sort of zombie or apocalypse type fiction, Last of Us had more relatable type stuff that was, like, hard-hitting. Like, oh, you ran into this other group, and then you had this cool interaction with them, and it was all awesome, and then they, like, tragically died.
You're on the green.
And I was like, oh, that's really sad. Or, your guy who helps you,
Down here.
he hasn't seen his partner in a long time, and then you find him and he's dead, and then it's like, oh yeah, see, that's, like, they were relatable stuff, whereas, like, I think in the initial premise of Last of Us 2 is not super relatable. Especially past a certain point. Like, in the beginning, you can kind of feel it. Like, okay, I am very upset that these people did this thing. So, and this is a game, so of course we're gonna go and kill all of them. That's what you do in games. But then it's like, it wore on and on and on. Then it just sort of became like, why am I doing this?
It is.
This is just a slog.
Yeah, for sure. Because like Last of Us 1 is like an over journey across the country to like get to your destination. So it has that like you're going on this quick adventure, like
you're like going to save the world.
Versus Last of Us 2, she's just straight up effing kill them all, man. Effing revenge. They know what they did. Well, they don't, but they're about to know. They don't know who they just missed, but they will see it.
But yeah, at the end, I came to feel that the slog was like by design. It's like you're supposed to be exhausted at the end, and you're just sort of on autopilot now. It's like I just want to see the ending. I just want to see the ending. So you're just going through the motions. Stealth, cut this guy. Stealth, cut this guy. Shoot this guy. Cut this guy. Meanwhile, you know, they're all still like living in this world, and so they're sad and upset when their friends get killed and everything, but you're not there anymore. You're just like, you're a killing machine. Automated. Kill this guy, kill this guy, kill this guy. Target acquired. Kill this guy.
Target acquired.
Yeah. That's... Because, yeah, I remember before thinking I would never play Last of Us again. Like, I played it the one time and I felt like that was enough. But then... maybe it is the times that we've been living through. Like, I played it again recently and thought, that was actually... like, I liked that.
Oh, so you changed your opinion on, like, The Last of Us can never be a fun game. It's just something that you experience. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I enjoyed playing that. Like, the first time I just thought...
Not just can you have fun, but I had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed all the killing and murders and survival.
The first time I was just like, oh man, I don't know if it was fun. I don't know if I enjoyed it, but I thought that it was good. And, yes, I lived through it. And then, yeah, recently I was like, oh, it's like, I enjoyed that. It was still good, and I enjoyed that it was good. Yeah, I started thinking about playing it again recently too. For the Last of Us 2. Like so many people like I saw jumped directly into a second playthrough. I was like, I don't wanna.
Dude. After I finished that, I was like, I need palate cleanse. That was some intense stuff, man. That was intense.
It was like, yes, there were beautiful scenes in the middle, in between that I really liked. You know, I like museums and aquariums, and they had both of those. But all around those parts, like,
Good shot.
so much. So much. Oh, I like how when you're sneaking into the theater, near the first boss fight, like, it's that ladder. When I played through as Ellie, I remember going out there and looking at that ladder and thinking, it's up. It will be fine. Do not know someone would hoist someone up there. I suppose that's what they do in The Last of Us.
Focus.
I also like the part when they're just talking about like the world, and they're just talking about that that died of old age, and they're like, may we all die of old age. Or just like the part when like the wolves have their whole like motto of like, may you live long and die a swift death. It's like,
yeah.
what? Is it that bad out there, guys? Jeez.
Yeah, that was great. They have a lot of stuff. Some of the settlements have a lot of stuff by then. Been doing good. They have electricity. Ellie,
I don't know if you'd call that doing good,
PlayStation
Tropical.
3.
In the, I mean, yeah, like the Wyoming settlements, like much in Seattle, say settlement for sure.
Yeah.
There are still under siege with guerrilla forces that are like following a prophet lady. That's like, yeah. Which I didn't even get like the whole story of sending in all the stupid lore pieces or whatever. That was weird.
Oh man, there's so much lore. Oh, I liked the safe. Not safe cracking, really, because you find the combinations. But, like, opening the safes was pretty fun.
Or, like, yeah, deciphering, like, the puzzles of, like, how to, like, put the combinations.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, too.
They didn't have, like, the first game had those doors that you had to open with shivs.
Hole 7. Par 4.
I don't think they did any of that in the second one, because they had enough glass around that if a door was locked, you could always break a window and then go in.
Good shot. Lucky bounce. Mind your gauge.
I did like there was like a part, I don't know if it was like one about in building, but like one of the like abandoned rooms that you first go into was like there's like a trap that like you go in and it's like got like bottles or something above the door and like it makes a noise. So it's like one of those traps. And like I think in the first game, like you make an observation of like, oh, like the blah blah blah. Like it's something from the first game that they brought back. Essentially, like you go through that area. Oh, you haven't played it, but like something happens, and like, of course, like I just played the first game, so I was like on alert, like something's about to go down here, and then something happened. I was like, that's pretty cool. So I was like, okay, well, obviously there's a trap here, and like, but it's a sound trap. It's not like a trap with danger or damaging you. So like, I was like, okay, something's gonna happen. So I was like very alert, expecting something, and then something happened.
I think I missed that entirely. There's so much I missed, I think.
Did you even do the bank?
I don't think I saw the bank.
Oh man, because it's basically one of the first areas, and it's got like this interesting, like you find this like note on someone as far as like going down, and it's just like funny. It's just like this whole thing that happens. It's a good sequence.
Hole 8. Par 3.
Like I've heard about the bank and the record store. And I did not see either of those things.
Shot complete.
Oh yeah, the research post like it gives you like a place, or it gives you like something for like another location in the city. And it's neat because it's like a passive side quest where it's like you learn about the world and stuff, but like from the like little notes that are like scattered across the environments. And it's like, oh, what happened to this person? And just follow the breadcrumbs to like the apartment or whatever. It's like, oh, that's what happened. I started thinking like the whole Walking Dead thing like partway through that game was like the same thing that happened to everybody else because they're all dead. So I was like, gee. Every time you get like a little note of like, then like Ellie's like, oh, I wonder what happened or something. It's like, dude, you already know what happened. The same thing that happened to everybody else.
Hole 9. It's a par 5.
Because they did. Just like everybody else.
Shot successful. Mind your gauge.
Did you finish High Score Girl?
I did not.
I think it's over. I think the last episodes that they released is the ending. I mean, I suppose they could make more, but I'm not sure. It's not obvious where it would go.
Shot successful. Huh? Shot successful.
Yeah, looking forward to that Transformers or Cyberpunk Frozen thing because like,
oh yeah,
Invisalign is like coming soon. I was like, dude, Ghost in the Shell came out, Altered Carbon came out. I was like, it's not that soon. That was like many months ago, and then finally they have like a new trailer, and it's this month. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, that trailer. Because I saw it, I was like, oh, cool, July. And then it's something like July 30th or something.
Yeah, it's been
like, oh, the end of July. It's so far away. It's insane. Every month feels like like when you're living it, it doesn't seem like it's dragging on. But then when you look back, it's like,
Yeah.
how has it only been 2 months?
Good shot.
March feels like years ago.
It does. Yeah, I keep hearing, like, when I watch the news, people are like, we've been through 10 years of blah blah blah, and got however many months. It's like, it feels like that, where it's just like, hey, a lot has happened,
Yeah.
but not a lot of time has passed. So it's just like, it feels like 5,000 years, but it hasn't literally been 5,000 years.
It's a crazy amount of time. It feels like it's fast.
And
But only
like,
when you
I
look
just-
back. The days are still,
Good.
they feel like they go by pretty quickly.
Good skill.
Oh my gosh.
Wonderful.
How is, I've only had to
Trying
pay,
for birdie.
electricity like 3 times since this started? Like, how can that be?
That was great. Hole 11. Par 5.
Please let this be the end.
Oh, it's funny because I was talking to Gamer and he said something and I was like, dude, Gamer, it could always get worse, dude. Okay, don't count your chickens before the eggs are hatched. My kid
I
was talking
know.
about, and I was just like, dude, don't, like, get your hopes up. Okay, this is like 2020, alright, do not relent.
It's insane. It's like, I mean, in my mind, I can't imagine that it could be worse.
Shot successful.
We're actually sort of kind of lucky. Like, there's that game, Plague Inc. I sort of talked about, where, you actually play as the virus. Not this virus, just like general virus. And as you infect people, you get points that you can spend on evolving yourself. So you can evolve in 3 different categories. It's like
Great feat.
how quickly you spread, how severe the symptoms are, and how deadly you are. And like, the first time my wife played it, she didn't really know what was going on, so she like put all of her points into spread ability.
His hopes down.
So at some point, like, almost everyone on the planet had the virus, but because it had mild symptoms and didn't really kill anyone, nobody cared. And so there was just like, no one was working on the cure. Like, that's how you lose. If people start working on the cure and then they succeed, then you lose the game. And so she was like, what's going on? Like, I'm not getting any more points. Everyone is infected everywhere. And yet the game continues. It's like, oh, it's because, like, nobody cares. Like, there's no symptoms and no one's dying. It's like, oh, okay. So she started, like, putting all her points into lethality. And suddenly, like, everybody died because, like, it was everywhere. It was like, so, yeah, like, that is not the case with this virus so far. So, yes, it could be a lot worse. It could be following that model, where it's spreading undetected, and people don't seem to care until one day,
Nice approach.
we lose an entire continent. Yee. That would be a 2020 thing to happen.
Well, yeah, it is super weird since I'm like watching videos about it every day, and it's like, it's like getting worse in Africa, getting worse in India, so it's like, who knows?
Par 4.
Or densely populated areas with not as good healthcare, who knows?
I think the freakiest part about it is that we don't know what it does.
I know, that's what kills me, is like when I keep seeing the stuff about like people aren't sure about the particles in the air, like how it's still like we still don't know like so much about it because there's still
Yeah.
new.
Because, like, in the beginning we thought, oh, it's a respiratory disease. So, like, if you eat it, it's fine, because it can't infect you that way. Which I still think that's the case, but, like, we no longer think of it as a respiratory disease, because, like, so many of the symptoms are not related to that at all. like people losing their sense of taste and smell. Well, that is definitely like neurological, which means it's attacking something in your brain, and that's bad. And it's just like
It's a par 3.
so many different symptoms. Like, yeah. So I think now they think it can attack any part of you. It attacks multiple places in the human body, depending on where it gets. Say, oh great, that's
Stop.
yeah, that's great. And then
Nice aim.
the thing I saw recently was that there are now numerous
Chips down.
support groups on social media of like people who have survived it,
Very good. You
whether
got it.
having like these long, they call
Oh
themselves
yeah,
long
I see that
haulers.
too. People that have like months or like weeks of just like terrible symptoms.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so that's
It's a par 4.
that's definitely worse than we thought.
As opposed to like someone that's like just asymptomatic, like, oh, I didn't even know. Whatever.
Yep.
You knew. Lucky me.
And now, like, yeah, around here, really, it has become like all the other exotic diseases you hear about in the news. They believe that it is.
Good shot.
They kind of believe that it's real, but I think, yeah, maybe. Okay, they probably believe that it's real, but they no longer believe that it is something that can affect them. And I was like, well, that's bad. You think about the flu. It's like, have you ever gotten the flu? Because this one is twice as infectious as the
Skin
flu.
improved.
And sure, you know, maybe it's not. It's hard to balance. I mean, I guess I could see it too. Like, it's not everywhere, but it could be anywhere.
Calm.
So yeah, that's where we're at.
That's
Chances are, statistically, chances are you will not get infected if you lick a random table in this room.
hole 16. Par 5.
But you could, and that's the problem.
Yeah, there's very much like a false sense of security with it, as far as
Yep.
like, you know. It's like, if you get a 3% chance something really bad could happen, but are you willing to take that risk? You
Yeah,
shouldn't be. Because
it's like a lot of the stuff that
you
we're
can
doing
still
is
spread
kind
to
of
somebody
stupid.
else that has like a 1% chance because of whatever else good.
I think, yeah, it's just like the sense of risk is not there, and just more and more people, especially around here, are more and more convinced that it's overhyped, I guess.
Warning.
Also, the you don't exactly have any type of
Out of
treatment
bounds.
cure for this, so it's still
Yeah.
pretty novel. Might want to take that into consideration.
Yeah, it's bad. But I'm very conflicted about the schools thing. If they do open schools, I think that would be a terrible. You know, like, nothing that has happened was not outside of predictions. Like, the first reports on predictions that I saw back in March were saying, basically, we're screwed. Like, there's really not anything we can do. We can, like, lock down for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then, you know, that will lower the level down to something. But then, if we, after we open, we're gonna have to lock down again later on. But we didn't even do that. Like, we just locked down a little while, and then we said, well, seems okay.
That was so bad.
Let's open. So it's like, it's not even that model. It's like a worse version of what they were modeling. where we didn't even wait long enough, and so we never had that really low dip.
Barely possible.
But yeah, with just like,
Uphill.
I don't know.
It breaks left.
I don't understand. I don't think people understand either. They're like, oh, the news is dishonest, and yet
Oh,
we follow it. Like, they don't believe in the news, but then they do believe in the news, and so they think that now that the news has been talking less about the disease, it's like, see, it doesn't exist anymore. They're like, no, like, there is an objective reality that is not dependent on what the news is talking about. Just because they stop talking about it doesn't mean it's over.
nice shot.
Very difficult. Is it bad down there? Is it bad everywhere?
It's not bad everywhere because it's like, I think the thing is like the infection. I mean, I think right now where we're at is like we're in like a spike of infection, so it's like we're waiting to see like what happens with the deaths as far as like from the current spike that we're having. So it's like I think
That's
Arizona
a
and
great
Texas
place to be.
are really bad. Cause like yeah, dude, it's like it's weird because like
Nice approach.
here it wasn't that bad like at all for like a long time, and then like all of a sudden after the whole reopening thing, it's like we had like
Slopes down.
increases in like the triple digits or something, like percentage wise, it's like over 100% increase or something stupid. And it's like, you know, like I said, false insecurity. It's like you'd have nothing to protect us against this. It's not a virus. So it's like people are just like, whatever, it's over. It's like, no, it's not over. It's just because you just like go out and spin. It's like people are like, oh, that means it's safe or we're good. It's like, no, that's not what that means.
Yeah, apparently in Wisconsin, like, if you think that it was one wave and then this is another wave, assuming everyone in the first wave recovered, the second wave is already bigger than the first wave was. And it's like, what?
That's the other thing, dude, is like the daily cases is like so much worse than it was before. Because it's like,
Yeah.
it was like, because like, that was just like New York and it was like the epicenter, right? So it's like, now it's like all these other places it counted into that. It's actually more, because cumulatively, more states than just the one. So it's even worse.
Time to head out. Time to move.
Oh man, yeah. Florida. So sad.
RPG's daily tweets is like, it's so tragic. Why are people like this? It's over, we're all doomed.
It makes no sense. How did it come to this?
Home one. It's a par 4.
Yeah, man, it's gotta end. Come on.
I know, it's just like, is it November yet? Is it November yet? Is it like, you know, it's like the waiting, which is like, ugh.
Like, God, it was like the worst possible time to have this group of people in charge. There are other times throughout history where, you know, relatively nothing happened, and it would have been fine to have someone who is totally worthless. But then, like, all this stuff is happening right now, and these are things that you can't wait out. You know, I mean,
Nice approach.
yeah.
That is the other thing, is like,
these
it
things.
was like a causation of like, you know, you had
Slopes
health
down.
crisis initiates financial crisis that hasn't really been addressed, and I think this one is like on recess, so it's like, yeah, until like, you know, 15 days from now we won't really get anything done on that, so
Yeah.
Par.
Just like the worst possible time to have
Hole 2.
this group of
Par
people.
4.
yeah, meanwhile strategy for like executive branch is this is fine, dog. This is fine,
Yep.
everything's fine.
Get used to it.
Ugh, I can't believe that was a thing. It's like, it's just here, you have to deal with it, you know, whatever.
I often wonder, like, if our mistake was that we assumed that people would do the right thing. You know, maybe, because, like, if you think about it, if we had said, okay, lockdown, and then everyone locked down, this would all be over. And I think that was a mistake now, with hindsight, because it's like, obviously people were not going to listen. Because they're insane. Like, they just want to be against everything you're for. And so, you know, that's where we should have started. Okay, half of the people are insane and they're just going to be against everything. What course of action do we take in that world?
Shot complete.
Because, yeah, like, if we did everything, then it would be over. But we did part of it. And we didn't even do a good job with that.
Ready and back up ball. Lucky bounce.
Yeah, and it's like the only thing this year I'm just like, please PS5, don't suck. Or like don't have the bed, Cody. Just like, you know, please have like redeeming factor to PS5 and just like don't have any bad enough. And it's just like the more time it goes on with they don't say anything, it's just like, oh, it's gonna be expensive, isn't it? Or like not gonna have like a bunch of music on price, and just like more negative thinking and like, oh no.
I'm trying to remember if I had to fight for a PS4. I don't think so.
Shifting down.
So if they, and that was only like 1 million units in the country, so if they can do that, then I think we're gonna be okay. Oh, unless the bots are gonna be out in full force this time.
Very good.
That would suck.
You're on the green.
I mean,
wonder-
do the bot owners have money after like drying up in the economy that we're currently going through?
Oh yeah, because they're scalping their consoles, so they have at least a few $100s per scalp. Yeah, I guess if it's expensive, then it'll be very hard to scalp a lot of them. Because you gotta have capital. Yeah, I wonder, thing about if games are gonna be $70, like, I wonder how it's gonna work. Because there's been this news that Xbox is trying to get other publishers to not charge for upgrades. Like, so what is that gonna be like? Like, if you buy the current gen version on Xbox, it's 60, but if you buy the next gen version, it's 70. But there's smart delivery, so who's gonna buy the $70 version,
Well, I imagine
knowing
like
that they can buy the $60 version to get the $70
I
version?
think the thing is like that's gonna be like an issue that's only gonna be outside of first party, because their first party stuff's gonna be faster for a while. They said, but like I think after a while, you know, they're probably gonna jump PS4 and Xbox One era and just focus on next gen stuff.
Oh, so maybe, like, so do you think the 2K21,
No further. That's closer.
like the $70 price, that's set? Or you think $70 will come down the line?
Well done.
It might be set. I think it could be set because I think that's it's like they gave an industry biz article. It's like, you know, if publishers are eyeing the price increase, it's like,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna stop them, and they're gonna do it anyway. So.
I think that's gonna be really weird. Or, I don't... Maybe they don't care, but it'll be weird from consumer side, because you'll be looking at, like, PS5 version is 70, Xbox Series X version is 70, but if you buy the $60 version on Xbox One, you get the Xbox Series X version for 60, and there is no path like that for PlayStation, so PS5 version is just like the most expensive version. Is it gonna be like Switch games, where there's like a Switch tax? Where you pay more for Switch games versus the same games on other consoles?
You've leveled up.
I guess so. Because after they stop supporting the current gen, they're all gonna be 70, and like you won't really have the option to upgrade at a lower price.
So is smart delivery just a gimmick then? For like,
I mean, it is just
current
cross-buy
cross-gen?
with a different name, so kind of.
That's true.
On the green.
I don't understand why people
Trying
don't
for birdie.
remember. Like, does no one remember cross-buy?
Downhill.
Everyone's like, oh, what's Sony's answer
Brakes
to
right.
this? It's like, I bought Destiny on PS3,
Hmm.
and then I never bought Destiny again.
Keep calm.
Are you getting the next Destiny
No,
2 expansion? So
I'm not.
no,
I'm done.
you're done.
I mean, on the one hand, I kind of do, but then like after they showed the roadmap of like 3 different expansions, and I'm like,
Over the next 3 years.
it's just like the season model isn't good for them, and so it's like if they're not going to go back to what they're doing before, which they kind of are, but then they're kind of like trying to do both at the same time. I'm just like, dude, I don't. It's like I'm kind of like just over Bungie and like constantly like in flux
It's
and
all
like
full.
constantly work in progress. And it's just like I'm feeling it. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's gonna be like. So, like my Stadia version. it
Also, not to
goes
mention
through
that like
this-
if like if didn't they say that like that or isn't that stuff gonna be on PS4 anyway? So it is like cross-gen. So it's like, you know, I'm kind of like after what happened with like the PS360 thing and like, you know, having that like water down the PS4 version. It's like
Oh yeah.
I don't want the same thing to happen with this current version. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. Like they're not going to abandon PS4 and Xbox One. So yeah, it is gonna be held back essentially.
and it is like, and they said something
At
about like
least 3 years.
crossplay and like cross-gen crossplay or something. So it's like that's cool,
Yeah.
but it's like, how about we just cut them out of the picture and have a better game?
Yeah.
How about that?
And they can't fundamentally change it because they have to exist in it.
Also, some of the quasi MMO stuff that they're doing, as far as like we're gonna rotate content out or in and out, it's just like, you know, if I ever feel like I'm restricted and can't like do whatever in the game, it's like that's not a fun time for me. It's like, oh man, if you do this stuff that you can't have disabled or like, you know, then you can
Yeah, like it seems like they're. Didn't they say one of the places they're removing is Leviathan?
I don't know, dude. I
That's
don't
like-
honestly know because I haven't been looking at these
A
dudes.
ton of raids and raid layers are all there. So all those are gonna be gone. They're just like
Focus on your power
replacing
gauge.
it with Vault of Glass.
I mean, that was kind of like a neat thing when I saw they can like, and I was like, dude, that's kind of a cheap cop out.
It's out.
Yeah,
Because you know everybody wants it. So it's like,
that is the what are they called? I don't remember what they're called. But like how the bosses were just big versions of small enemies. That's the same thing. Recycling content.
like, I would like to play King's Fall in the current graphical setup, but I would also not like pay you no money to support you. So,
Big Scarab. Is that what they are? I don't remember.
what? Big
Power
scare?
line.
What's
It's
the
about
little
right.
Oh,
thing that...
the big like captains or like the minotaurs or something, the hobgoblins. Is that what you mean? But they're all like the same unit, just like bigger.
Yeah. But
I
there
don't know
was,
what
we
you're
always
talking
joked
about.
about like it would be like a big version of that little flying thing.
Oh, the Shank. The big Shank.
Yeah, Shanks, big Shanks.
I mean, they did make a strike boss
Focus
in
on
the
your power
shield
gauge.
base or whatever, right? So, you did that.
Because, yeah, putting just cycling Vault of Glass into Destiny 2 as new content is the big shank of making new content. But that's all they can do. Like, they can't... Or maybe they can, because if they're cycling stuff out, then potentially there's like more memory to build more bad guys? No, I don't think that's how it works. Anyway, yeah. It does feel like it's gonna be a higher resolution, possibly higher frame rate version of the same game.
Yeah, I kind of just got tired of the story not going anywhere. It's like, okay, well now you're bringing the stranger back. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna fall for it, dude. It's like, that's total, just like, that is a total bait move. It's like, oh, stranger's back. It's like 3 years. 3 effing years we haven't heard anything about the strangers. It's like, oh, they just magically reappear. It's like, yeah, pass. It's like, oh, you can do the darkness, use darkness cards, which was like a while ago. So it's like, pass.
Well, the end of Destiny.
Yeah, it's my new joke is like I'm quitting Destiny for the third time.
That's more than they have numbered sequels. The first 2 didn't take. Well, does it make a difference that you actually don't have to buy?
I've seen about that 2 times before. I was like, it is free to play now, but then it's like, I never met a free to play game that I liked, so that doesn't really mean much new. Or that, like, you know, was enough, I should say. Because I did like Dauntless for a while, but that got, you know, it's like, yeah, but that's the thing, it's like they all fall into that stupid category of just like super grindy and like trying to go back along, and that is Destiny, so it's like, I think I'd just rather not do that to myself this time.
Yeah. I guess, so I played a little of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and yeah, I think the thing that I dislike about Destiny, or why I probably play PvP so much, is that, like, I don't like that the guns have different levels of power, because then it just, like, feels, the game feels bad. Like, you go around and you're just, like, shooting a lot, and then it's like, oh, well, you know, this feels like it's too hard. It's like, oh, it's because your guns aren't good enough, or you don't have enough light level or whatever. It's just like, if I'm doing the stuff, shouldn't I, you know, be able to get through this? Like, Breakpoint, like, very heavily, if you play in the original style of the game, it's like, if you don't have the right weapons, then you can't get through. They're just not powerful enough. Like, this feels weird for a Ghost Recon game. Like, bullets are bullets. People are people. Like, you should be able to take them out. It's like, oh, your bullets are weaker. They're made of, I don't know, pure gold or something. They squish on impact, and they don't hurt them. Like,
It's actually weird because like I did like play Division 2, so it's like I have like dabbled in other like games. It's like I think I'm just it's like that's the other thing is just games as a service to me. I'm just done. So it's just like it's like it has that feeling of like when playing on the wall and like they just have that flavor, and like I just played a bit and I just want to vomit because it's just like it's gonna be a nice long slog of repetitive content over and over.
Yeah.
Grinding for optimal stuff.
I wonder if there's a way they could do it differently, where it wouldn't be like that, but it would still be... Because what they want is for you to be invested in a character that you built. And I don't necessarily think that has to involve, okay, you gotta grind this thing that's like, it's alright, you know, it's not blowing your mind or anything, but it's not terrible, so you'll do it just so that you can build your character. Yeah, Division had that too, where you would get to points where it's like, okay, my guns just aren't doing any damage to these guys. They have so much health. Division 2, I think, was better with it, but yeah, definitely the first one. It's just, you get to points like, oh, I just need better guns, and then I can come back. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with Avengers. Is it gonna be like,
That's closer.
you know, this is supposed to be Thor's hammer. Why do I have to hit this guy 6 or 7 times? Like, oh, you haven't leveled up enough. It's like, that just makes it feel bad. That just makes me feel like this is not Thor's hammer. This is like a replica that I found in a shop. And because I'm Thor, I can still kill people with it.
I'm definitely alarmed at that game because it's like I've seen all the enemy types or lack thereof, robots. I was like, this is not. I don't know. I mean, I guess it works because it's aim, but it's like, dude, if that's like the first chunk of game, that's gonna be that game. No, that's for sure.
It went flying.
This one's where they have like cool characters or X-Men.
Yeah.
Approach successful.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Focus.
Yeah, I'm just hoping like this, because they've talked about it as like, oh, it has single player, that's gonna be robust and good. It's like, okay, you know, that's what I'm banking on. I don't necessarily want to play this multiplayer stuff,
It's a par 3.
because then, you know, it's this power balancing thing, and then it's gonna be like what I've been talking about, which I don't like. So, if the single player is good, then okay. But then if it's gonna be like Destiny, where it was like, it was alright, then,
Focus on your power gauge. No.
yeah, that seems kind of likely too. Because, like, what was the problem with Destiny's story was it felt like it didn't really end.
Approach
It was
successful.
like a thing, and then it's like, oh, here's my gun, bye.
That is definitely an issue right now.
Yeah,
It's just like they have
like-
so many plot lines that like never resolve and go out in like separate directions and just like out into infinity, never end, never go anywhere. It's just like it's sick to know that like you're on forever for no reason.
Par 15.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
can
reason.
see that happening with a Marvel game, or Avengers, because like that, there's not really an ending to that.
I mean, or they could just like
It's gonna
keep
be more like
increasing new
a-
threats, maybe.
Yeah,
Start with
maybe.
MODOK, then like new villain, then new villains, just new villains.
That's like Anthem, I guess. Anthem does feel like it has an ending, but then you just play the same things over and over and over. Even fewer things than Destiny.
Maybe that's something to look forward to in like next year, is like someone solves the games as service model
Yeah.
problem.
Shot successful.
Figure it out.
It's like we made this thing, but it's kind of a nightmare now, and we don't know how to fix it. So if we need to solve the problem, that'd be great.
I think probably it's gonna be some sort of multiplayer thing. That's how they solve it. But so it'd be like Gambit, but more. So it feels like, because you don't want it to feel like it's just player versus player, because then, you know, that's a totally different
Par
thing.
16.
You want it to feel like player versus environment, but it has to be like varied enough that people can play it over and over and it doesn't feel like they're just doing the same thing. And I think like the unpredictability of people is how you're gonna do that. But then, I have no idea how they're gonna make it so that it feels fresh and every time and you're like totally okay with doing it again.
I think there could be something where it's like the lane solution,
Shot successful.
where it's like the Mortal Kombat, where you like play to a faction, and you just like, you know, whoever has the most students at the end wins, but there's just a game of numbers, so it doesn't really, not really fair.
Yeah, I guess I should play For Honor. For Honor is supposed to be something like that. Yeah, I guess too, if they could
Fine
make
shot.
just like the feel of the game itself, so the most basic
Trying for
stuff
birdie.
feel really good, then you wouldn't be... I guess Destiny does feel really good though.
Yeah, it is.
Just...
That's why it's so you come back to it all the time. It's like, oh, you're just throwing over bombs and you're shooting sweet guns. All the mechanics are good. All the jumping's good. Everything's good. It's just the small little things around the edges there, just a bit
Well done.
of a deal breaker.
Great.
And over time it like piles up. It's like cumulative. Like, you know what gets me about this game? And you just have a gripe time about it. It's just like, yeah, all these things because
17. Par 3.
effing makes it punchy.
Shot successful. Nice out.
Alright, well,
Birdie
I was
possible.
going to play something, but I ended up playing Scroll Through My Menus. Just trying to find something to play. I haven't finished Final Fantasy VII Remake yet.
What?
Yeah.
I platinumed that game tropical.
It doesn't look... It looks like, according to trophies, like 50% of everyone who bought that game finished it. Which is unbelievable to me.
Last hole. Hole
The
18. It's a par 4.
the wait was long and the hype was palpable, but it finally came out. And we finally got it, and then we devoured it.
I think I'm like halfway through. So, someday. I did finish Ni no Kuni. That surprised me.
Mind your gauge.
That game did not go where I thought it would go.
Good shot.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, now I have to go
What's the
steal
lie?
my daughter's tooth so I can give her money.
well played. Keep calm. Uphill.
It's like, how do you find this tooth fairy? Oh, thief steals teeth to, like, you know, shake the money.
Steals the teeth of little children for cash.
Nice touch.
Add to their weird teeth collection or something.
Well done.
I was asking the name, like, everyone here that has kids, I was asking them, like, what are you gonna do with the teeth? Like, and you have, like, more than one kid, so are you gonna be, like, 10 years later, you're gonna just have this collection of all these little pieces of your children?
That is creepy. Every child has, like, some sort of, like, parental museum that they've been keeping as they grow.
Yeah,
Take pieces of them.
it's weird.
That is super creepy.
One of the moms, she was just straight up, we're gonna throw them away. And her husband was like, no, we're gonna keep them. And I don't know how it came up, but he was like, oh, I'm gonna make a necklace of all their teeth. Like, that would be kind of cool, but also really scary.
And possibly not sanitary. I'm not sure how teeth ed necklace would work.
I mean, if it's like a decade later, the organic stuff is probably all gone, so it's just like the enamel, and I don't know, it's gonna be nasty. Alrighty, well, perhaps we will podcast again someday.
Someday.
Someday. It's been rough.
5,000 years. Tropical.
It's been
5,000 years.
Man. Yeah, I'm not gonna think about it, but like, oh, if this ends mercifully in 6 months, like the entire mood is gonna be so different. It is gonna be amazing. I will see you next time.
Alright, see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Okie dokie, so that... Let me check something real quick. I'm gonna go on your screen. Okay, my sound is now. Cool. Oh, okay, 60 frames. I don't know if that helps. And it says run smoother, but... I guess we'll see that. Alright. So I will sign off now on the stream. So thanks for watching, and I'm now signing off.
Everybody's golf.